Well, welcome to Matt's Rocks. Today I'm going to be working on this white slick superior agate, white and brownish gray. I've got 5 other. Let me put some water on there. And it's got quite a bit of parallax banding in it, if you can see the shift. Excuse me. In it. But it's pretty nice agate. I've got 4 other pieces. I cut one agate into 5 slabs. These two are these ones. This is an end. This is a pretty good one. This is the other end, the other heel. But it's pretty clear. This other agate around behind it. It's fairly clear, as you can see. The lets quite a bit of light through, even as it is, as dark as it is. So it's going to be pretty with a little bitty fortification pocket in it. The rest of it chalcedony, I think. Look, see if it's got lines in it. Ooh, there are bands in there. They're not very bright, but there's still bands going out from around that. Hopefully you can see them on this. Maybe not. And then there's got this 4th piece here. It's got a pretty good sized brown band around the outside edge of agate and a smaller pocket on the other side. I didn't wipe it all or wet it all down. But I'll be doing these one video at a time, I think, rather than doing them all at the same time, because it's taking about 2 hours a piece. But these here I got at a rock shop just south of here in Macanda. I had to buy these agates. I just did a red one earlier today. I've got 4 pieces of it, but I'm going to do those in individual videos too. Okay, so let's get started. I need to stop yakking. Video just getting longer as I speak. This one's not as fractured up as the other one, I hope. It doesn't look like any of these actually go all the way across or all the way through anywhere. Hopefully. These were kind of hard to do because I cut them freehand, so you can see that this end is, this top side is wider than this bottom side, so it's kind of a pie-shaped wedge. So was the other ones. The red one was too. I forgot to zoom that in. I better do that now. Line it up on those last wheels so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. See how this rime looks. I may be able to save some of that. I may want to save some of this rime, but that red one had some eyes in the rime. The rime is agate. Looks to have some interesting patterns, but I've got a big bug here on this side. It's got some interesting patterns in there as far as the white agate goes that it's made up of. But that's where it filled at, as you can tell by where the point of the center pocket comes out right below that spot. And well, actually it's more up here towards the end, but that's also got some of this probably coming in from there. It may have switched, it may have actually tilted in the earth too, halfway through forming, and filled up the other way on the other half. That might be why we got the parallax. I'm not sure exactly what causes that, other than there being clue to. So what it basically causes it is the lines being so close together, and the agate being clear enough to see through in between the lines. And then when you tilt it, you could actually see the depth in between the lines, and it makes it a shadow, and that shadow moves as it shadows more of the agate in between those lines. So that's where you get your parallax at. But I may not be able to save so much of this without leaving a big bug there, and I don't really want to do that either. There's the fat end. I got a little place where it fractured off when I was cutting it that I didn't get trimmed down exactly level with the rest of the face. But it's on this thick side anyway, so it ain't gonna make any difference. So I'm gonna have to cut that thick side down and make them both pretty close to the same. They don't have to be exactly the same thickness from side to side, because it's going to be probably a wire wrap more than likely. I don't know. I haven't started doing any of that. I did a little bit, but not much. And I know wire wrapping's not for me because I don't have the dexterity in my fingers or the steadiness in my hand. Silversmithing might be the same. Although I need a lot more equipment to do either one, like a vise to hold the work in, something to hold the work in, because I can't hold two wires together and wrap another wire around it and keep those two wires steady enough and get enough pressure to make the wire wrap tight enough. So it kind of going to be a little difficult without something to hold it in. I know what I need. I've got my list. It's going to cost me about $700 for all the stuff I need for silversmithing. And that's without buying the solder, and that's not counting solder and flux, pickling compound, or whatever you use to pickle them. I'm not even sure exactly what the name of that is yet, because I haven't looked into it enough yet. this edge a little bit sharper than I thought I wanted to, because I don't want to lose these lines out here. And the way that slopes off, I'd lose these lines here. And this, I'm going to lose those two vugs, more than likely, pretty close to, because they're just ugly inside. But I want to lose a little bit of them, but I don't want to lose all of them. Yeah, I'm going to lose those eyes anyway. Most of it. It's a lot softer material. It's coming off really fast because I've got one of them out completely. The bigger one's gone already. Well, yeah, I think that one was a little bit bigger than these two. I'd have to look back in the footage to be able to tell for sure, but I'm going to leave more of that vug than I need to, or than I want to, just because maybe not. These few little outside lines on this point ain't going to make that big of a difference. Getting this face rounded, I'm going to lose a lot of that up there anyway. And I kind of like that little eye in that point right there. Little white eye in the middle of those fortification lines where that's where it was fed from, I think. Where the liquid came into the vug from, because this is a nodule. I don't have to trim this one down as much to get the light to come through it as I did that red one. So their faces don't have to be all of that round, just as long as they're round enough for me to work on these wheels properly. Feeling I'm going to lose that little eye on the end there. Oh well. It's not an eye, it's just kind of like the center of a bug, about like this, you know, or the center of a nodule, except that it's out here on the end. So they come together here and then it spreads out again here a little bit at an upper level. See how these lines stop there, so it filled here again. It's different. It's kind of neat. All the other stuff I got to work yet. Got a feeling I'm going to lose that eye on the outside edge there. Okay, I think that's enough over the 80 grit. Let's drop down to the 220 grit. See, can't we finesse out something with that eye, or that center bug there, whatever the heck it is. See if I can't keep it. Cool. Let's leave that side alone now. Just a little bit rounding off here. feel we got it. I'm believing from the feel of it, it feels like we're ready to go to the next wheel. Forgot it's white. You gotta leave it a little bit wet. Opened up a little white occlusion on that line and it turned out to chip out. But I'll just round that whole edge off and take care of that. Dude it. I got confused on which side I was working. Had a little problem with the edge I had to fix. Lost track of where I was at. So we just hit both faces one more time. Check it again. Okay. Scared me, I thought I had a big chip there. Next wheel. Side's not quite as rounded as the rest of them, but I don't care. Just want to make it a little bit more rounded than it was. Did it. Got it. Lightly on that little tip. My little eye's gotten about 2/3 the size it was before. Okay, let's look and see what we got. It's feeling smoother already. See if I got any flat edges. A little water on it. And I do the edges first, flat spots first. Gotta have a little reflection for that. Scared me that was a bubble. Thought my little fracture had come back, or a little chip. I worked out a little while ago that I just popped open a bug, and a little white bug, and then when I tried to get it out, it fractured and chipped out. Bug or cracks and fractures, chips out of the fracture right there on that end face, up higher, not down on around the corner on the point. So I'm going to have to take it down a little bit more. Okay, now let's look for scratches and undercut. For that I can dry it off. It's got enough of a shine to it now to make it look where I can see the scratches anyhow and the soft spots. Got a lot of, looks like spall marks on this side from when it was cut. I did cut it in a water-cooled 10-inch lapidary saw by hand without no vise or anything. And I did see some sparks coming up through it as I was cutting it, so that's probably what caused those spall marks. Those are probably spall marks rather than inclusions. But we can get them out of there. Just got to work with it a little more. I knew I was going to have to do that anyway because I hadn't run it lengthwise yet. May have to go back to the 100 grit to get them out, or 220 grit. I was actually correct this time. I've only got 3 of them or 4 of them left. And they're not really, they were the worst ones. That's why they didn't come out yet, but they were the whitest ones, I should say. They were all like little white streaks, but they were different widths and lengths. And these were 3 of the longest, 4 of the longest, and widest. I may have left with some up and down scratches from this, but or lengthwise scratches. But I don't care. Yes. Almost. Let's got some more of them pop back up over here that I didn't see. Didn't have it at the right angle. But they're not all that. Some of them may be actual inclusions. They're inclusions rather than small spall marks. Because they don't come to the surface. There's no cracks, no pits. Just a little thing. Let me run that down the center real quick. One last time. Lightly. Guess what? Leave your answer in the comments. No, just kidding. I got them out. Well, I got enough of them out. I've got a few over here too, but they're not. Let me buff that. I haven't worked this side this direction yet. Let me go over it lightly. It's got some inclusions that looked like spall marks. I didn't see any cracks or pits to show that I'd gotten through them. They're in, so that means they're inclusions. If it was a spall mark, it would have been a tear from the top to the bottom, more than likely, I would think. I wouldn't think that it'd be past where the blade went through, you know, past where the blade cut that face. It would have to start out there and work it and go in, rather than the other way around, crack inside and not outside or not at the edge. It just wouldn't make any sense. Okay, I still got a few little sideways, shortways scratches there. They didn't look like spall marks, they were just little scratches. And they're not going the same way that the fortification lines are going. So it's not that. It was just little scratches where I hadn't got it quite smooth enough yet. I don't think I went on this face much. The other one anyway. Yep, now I've got little scratches going lengthwise, so they're all from this one. They don't have any going short ways now, but they're going long ways, so they were all from this wheel. Which means they will come out on the next wheel. There's just so much going on in this thing. Wow. If I can get that to show up where you're at. See them shadows jumping all over the place in there? All the way around that whole face. And them parallax bands are throwing shadows. That's so neat. I don't know, you can probably see those little inclusions too. Little white inclusions. No. May not have been holding it still enough, but so I haven't watched too much of this footage yet. Like I said, I said it on a different video, I've only edited one so far. I've put together another one, but it was like 6 hours long, and that was basically all I did was just throw all the different clips, because this camera still breaks it up into clips. I don't know what where the braking action's at. I don't think I've paused them that many times. I think it's got a certain amount of time it'll run before it has to store it on the chip or on the SD card before it can add more to it. But there's enough memory, usually enough memory left, that it'll be able to still store what's being played, so there's no gap in the actual action on the footage. So as I've played one back a little bit at a time, and I played through the clip, or the sections where the clips come together, but I still haven't figured out how to fast forward the playback in a clip and add it to the timeline. But that's just because they had it on paper. If they had a manual on paper or in a book that I could just turn pages on and not have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and because some of them won't let you just put in a page number and go down to that page on a PDF document. They're not all PDF documents. I don't remember what this one was. I've only looked at it twice, I think, since I downloaded it. I'd rather have something on paper where I could look at an index and go to the page just by flipping, rather than having to scroll up or down on the page, or scroll for 5 minutes before I got down to it, because some of these manuals are 1,000 pages. And a lot of it is probably because it's in several different languages. I don't know. I'm not begrudging them that, but so it's just that I haven't checked to see what all the pages go to. It's hard to tell by the index, usually, at the front, because it doesn't actually tell you exactly what is where. I mean, exactly, depends on what your question is, what you're trying to find. Sometimes it won't say exactly that that's what it is that you're trying to find, and you just got to intimate on what you think it might be and which section you think it might be. And then you got to scroll down to it. Hey, this is looking real good. A lot of these lines on this face are going to show through. This one here, they're not showing as bad. Well, I guess they are, because it's got the darker, well, it's a clearer agate. That's what gives it the parallax lines, and I never did change that over. You can see what I was doing. There we go. Did I? Okay, I need more water on my wheels getting dry. Which way are those scratches going? Okay. Doesn't matter, I need to take it down some. Get past the wide spots in the lines there. And it may not be wide spots, it may just be because it's so clear and there's no light going through it at the angle that I'm holding it, that it's because it's tilted, so it may be like a shadow in clear chalcedony, but it looks like scratches. It looks like there's a space in between where the clear agate's at rather than the white lines. That's what it looks like. And it's just because it's more than likely just because I haven't gotten it down smooth enough yet than anything else. I haven't really run it much on this wheel yet. I'm just going to need both faces at the same time. That way if I lose track, it ain't going to make no difference. Usually when I do lose track of which face I'm on, I'll work both faces. Same with the edges. If I lose which edge I was working on, I'll just do them all. Most of the time I'm not really paying attention to what the pattern looks like on the stone. I'm just looking to where the stone is hitting the wheel. Trying to make sure that's covering the whole thing, the whole stone. And I got the pattern facing away from me when I'm working on it too, so that doesn't help any. I can't really see it unless I tip it back far enough. Take it completely off the stone. I need to turn that down some. I don't need a bath. Took one this morning, thank you. Well, shower. Don't do baths. Yeah, I didn't round off these faces quite all that much either. They're just barely rounded, so they didn't get ground down a whole lot in the center. And there may be still some weathering. Oh, that's looking so much better already on that side. This side's still got some lengthwise scratches in the center. And they are scratches. I can tell they are scratches because I can see that they're going this way, and the fortification lines are going this way. I didn't flip it over, did I? Yes. Okay. This is where the face is, where the flatter part of the face is at. It's not completely flat, but it's not really that convex either. I don't know whether they're 280 grit scratches or the 600 grit scratches. Won't know till I take it off this time. I'm going to do the outside edge and then do the center. Go over both a couple of times, outside edge and the center of the wheel. So I'm thinking that when those troughs on these wheels, I'm thinking the centers of these wheels, when they're concave like that, I'm thinking they're more, the grit in the center here resembles the 1200 grit more than the grit on the outside does, the 600 grit. This still is more like 600 grit, where this is more like 1200 grit. That's what I'm trying to get to. And it's probably the same over here on the 280 grit. So that's why I do the outside end and the inside. Dry off. Okay, they're coming out. And they may be inclusions too, because they do look a little white. Of course, that may be the rock dust next to the cracks, following the fortification lines. I don't know, or to the scratches. I think I just don't have them out yet. And if it is inclusions, they're not real. They don't go down very far into the stone because they're real faint. There, that one's ready. This is the side that I needed to work on, I believe. Yep. I needed to work on it this way. See? I just did it again. Lost track of the side I was doing. The other side's ready, so I don't have to do any more to it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this was the side. Those look like inclusions, but they're just bothering me. They may be scratches. But you could see them even when you can see the scratch and the white both at the same time, but they are going short ways. Now I can't see the scratches. There's still a couple of small white spots there, but I don't think it's on the surface. I think it's inclusions underneath. I got those were inclusions. They just weren't deep inclusions. They were still closer to the surface. I'd been working them out. Got to the center of the air pocket center of them, and was just having to cut the rest of the other half of it out of the depth of the agate. And these last two, they're just little bitty ones. These last two, they should just shine over top of. You'll still see the white, but there won't be a scratch looking place or a pit. Okay, that's going to take quite a bit more. Work. I really clouded it up. Well, dulled it up from what it was. Take long to fix that though. So still had absolutely no scratches after I got done with that one. No, even any 280 grit scratches. Still pretty smooth, just dull. Okay, I think I can get what little bits left. Just a little bit on both of these. I think I can get them out with this 1200. So I think they're 600 grit scratches. And ain't no sense putting more 600 grit scratches in there to get those 600 grit scratches out. Especially since I wouldn't be able to tell the difference of where they were at. It never fails. When you add more, you can't tell whether they're the exact same ones you were trying to work out or whether you added them to it. You can if there's a significant number of more of them than there was before, but otherwise, or significantly less amount than there was before, but you know you're getting them out. It's a little tricky. Flip this. When I'm doing it this direction, I want to come back around that edge quite a bit so that when I do this face, I don't have to tip it too far and make a dull spot on the very edge of my face, or edge of my corner, edge of the stone, however you want to call it. That almost looked like a flat spot, but I don't think it was. And I kept my little eye. It wasn't. Or if it was, it's out. Difference. Get both of them. Didn't go over it enough to make any difference. I hate it when I drop it. So I got my hands in the way. When it hits the bottom of the tray, it either turns over or it doesn't, but my hands are in the way where I can't see whether it does turn over or doesn't. And then I always second guess myself, well, which side was I working on? I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to explain how sometimes I feel stupid, but I'm not. Well, I guess I am, but everybody's a little stupid about some things, I think. Those inclusions are actually still there and showing back up again, but there's no scratches. They're the exact same length they were before. So maybe it was just scratches above those inclusions that went the same way as the inclusions, because I was trying to cut the inclusions out, running it short ways across the wheel. Dull spot still in the center of this face. Don't remember being there before, so I think I put it in there. I got it though. I think what it is because I was telling you earlier, it's not surrounded on either side. The face is not so domed that I wasn't putting enough pressure, that even though this isn't indented like these two as deep, it's still indented, and I just wasn't putting enough pressure on it on those last few times working it lengthways like that to get enough pressure for the center to, where it's flatter, touch that center of the wheel. It was sticking out. This is the trough, and it was sticking out away from the trough because the sides were catching it. Same thing with this one. Not as bad, but it's not as dull, but I've still got some scratches, shortwave scratches in there, and I think it's actually inclusions. I think what it is the fractures, or the edges of the inclusions where I'm getting into them is at an angle, and I can only see it one direction, and I just wasn't seeing it in the opposite direction when I looked and thought they were gone. And it may just be my imagination. Got a little bit of cloudy left on this, but it's right here in the center. These first two, there's two fortification lines on my index finger side of that white point. The put the finger down far enough that out of that dark point in the center, those two white lines, there's two white lines and then a single white line, and then it gets darker again. The where those two white lines are at, you can see that there's a white colored agate, so there's crystal in that white agate in those two lines, and it's showing dull right there, but that will come out on my 3000 grit. Okay, 3000 grit, ready to go. Check my outside edges real quick. Make sure I don't have any real dull spots on them or scratches. Water on it for that. Have a slight dull spot. I like this agate better than that red one, I think. I'll show them both to you when I'm done. I think that's going to be it for the days, these two. Still got all winter. I need to stay inside and stay home, or I don't go out much anyway, or go anywhere much anyway, but I just need to stay at home more so I can save up more money to go to Arizona this year, this spring. My older brother wants to go with. Not go out with me as much collecting rocks, depending on how far I gotta walk. He's got bad knees and toothache hips, so they ain't doing real good. I don't know how much he'll actually help with or do with as far as the collecting goes. I may end up buying more better rock shops anyway. The rock shops around here, I've got two within 250 miles, I think. Because without going to St. Louis, I've not been to any of the rock shops in St. Louis. I'm not interested in going into the city of St. Louis. I'm not really that interested in going into the city of East St. Louis. But I know that there's one down in Paducah, probably 75 miles away, 50 to 75, 50 to Paducah, and it's past Paducah ways and on down around the other top end of the Twin Lakes down there, Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. So those are the two, and the one is more knick-knack. It's in a knick-knack type thing. It's in a flea market. So they don't have a whole lot of stuff in there anyway. No rough. I did get a couple of pieces out of there once before, and but I've been down there since, and the selection's got less. And then the rock shop in Macanda, they've got some stuff, but they don't have a lot of rough agate type stuff, other than like Superior agates. Missouri quartz and that type of stuff. They got some of that, but I did get some other stuff there. I got some black agate with mollusk shells in them, petrified snails, spiral snail shells, and a piece of rockafane. I don't know, I think it's got real low quality rubies and other stuff there. It's more of a brecciated rock that's a conglomeration of rock, but it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of got this pinkish color to it. And those cheap, or the cheap, I shouldn't say cheap, I should say less desirable rubies with more inclusions in them that are more pinkish and pinkish white, cloudy looking, broke up. That's what's in it. Too, but it's in bigger chunks. It may be barite crystals too. I'm not really sure what the heck it is. I don't think it is because they're pink, cloudy, not red. I tried looking it up online by the name, and all the samples I've seen, all the pictures of samples I saw without going through a bunch of sites, because there's all kinds of different sites I could have went to. I didn't see anything that looked quite like it. And, the lady in that rock shop down in Kentucky had some like it. I had some that I'd polished. She had some that was similar, looked exactly like it, but it wasn't polished. It was in slabs. And she told me it was man-made. But I hadn't heard of anything being man-made like that. That doesn't mean anything. But it's got me curious. I'm not saying she was wrong. I'm just saying that it's got me curious because I'd like to find out. Because mine doesn't look like it was made man-made. It's a good solid piece of rock. I mean, it's a chunk of rock. It's this big, and I've cut a couple of cabs off of, 2 or 3 cabs off of it already, I think. Need to figure out a better way. They look good, but their pattern's just kind of weird in them. From the conglomeration, it's kind of like pudding stone, only not. It's got more other stuff in it than a pudding stone. It's the inclusion, like the pudding stones, you get the jasper in them, and it's in big chunks. These ones are smaller chunks of different stuff. And I'm not sure what all the other minerals that make up the stone are made out of, or actually are. It's pretty stone though. Just got to figure out a way to make better cabs out of it, because the ones I made were the first one I made was just kind of an experiment. It was just free-form off the chunk I'd cut off. And because it was a weird pointy end stone, I just cut off the point on the end, and that's what I made my cab out of. It gave me a level spot to make bigger cabs from there. So it was an end cut. do that. I hope that wasn't a mistake. It wasn't. I'm not going to be able to get the cloudiness side of this, or the dullness out of that wider white agate around those, in between those fortification lines on that outer edge where it's thickest, because it's just got too many quartz crystals in it. It's just going to be, it's speckled because it's got bugs. Where the quartz crystals busted out. I'm not going to be able to get them out of there. I'll get it to shine any better. So that side's done. This side, I've opened up more inclusions, I think, or just didn't get the other ones closed like I thought I did. There is a little bit of dullness in that area that's not quite domed enough. So I had to put some pressure on it. And that's more of that same agate too. So this side's done. Or this whole thing's done. Can you see the shadow here in this lower white band? There's like a line that comes through here when you tilt it. Now if I turn that the other way. Another one down on this side. And actually this top part is the lower part I was showing you earlier. I hope that's coming through on the video. Excuse me. And this other side, it's just moving all over the place. If I can get it showing up, I think I can see a little of it. But that's this one all finished. Happy with this one. I think this one, I like this one better than, I told you I was going to show you both of these. So this is the red one, and it's got parallax in it too. Hopefully you can see it. It's harder to see in this one. Oh no, don't do that. Last time I did that I broke one. It was a Brazilian agate though. And there's the other side of it. And it's got parallax bands in it too. But I like them both, but this one's got more fractures in it. As you can tell by looking at that side. And that's the other side. You can see how many more fractures that one's got than this one. Oh no, I had a chunk come out of there. Oh well. I did break it a little bit. Right there. On that edge right there at my finger. Right on the edge of the fracture. And a chip come out of the upper part just above it, coming up this way. I'm running along the face of the fracture this way. So it's like almost a quarter of an inch long. A little over 1/16 of an inch deep in the far end and the wider end of it. Gosh darn it. Oh well, just quit dropping them. I got a rubber floor too. Just when they land flat, they're harder to keep from messing up. When they land flat like that and they're fractured, I banged them on the table before I started working them, see if they were going to split. Because I've taken some of these. Actually, it was one of these that I dropped the other day, and it had a fracture running down through here. You can see just a little bit of it on this stone. I don't know, you can't either. This one doesn't have it, but the other one had a little bit of fracture, and it was more or less more of a inclusions along a fortification line than anything else. And I had just finished. I finished on this machine, and I had took it over to the flat lap for aluminum oxide to finish it, give it a final polish. And I was showing it to the camera and dropped it. It landed flat and broke in half. But I just ground off those edges and made it 2 stones. It's still a good stone. Enough ranting. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, whatever you feel. Hope you enjoyed these videos, and have a good day.